Hey, hi guys, welcome to FLUI Design Hackathon 2025. I'm Ishita, the social media manager.
And I'm Yuna, the judges support, and we are going to be your MCs for the hackathon.
Thank you so much for being here. To the judges, mentors, clients, workshop hosts, and all sponsors, thank you so much for being here. We know you've taken time out of your busy schedule to be here, so we're extremely grateful for that. And to all the participants, we're so glad you're here. We're so excited to see what you create over the next few days. So stay excited. Whether you're here to support, mentor, judge, or compete, you play a very important role in the success of this hackathon. So a huge round of applause for everyone for being here.
Now, before we begin, we would like to acknowledge that we are all gathered here today at Emily Carr University on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We are deeply grateful to be able to host this event on this land and honor the rich histories and contributions made by its indigenous communities. Now, with that in mind, let's take a quick look at what's ahead so you know what to expect for the day. So we're going to start things off with some introductions and then a brief overview of the event. And then we'll break for lunch at 11:50. We might break for lunch a little earlier, but we'll see. I think you guys can have a longer break. And then right at 1, we're going to start our judges' fireside chat, and you don't want to miss that. You'll be able to learn a lot of valuable insights, and you'll also have the opportunity to ask your own questions to the judges. So make sure during the lunch you grab a good meal, recharge, relax, and even interact with your fellow participants. And then at 2:30, we're going to be going through the client introductions, so you'll get to find out who you'll be designing for and what the challenge is. And then finally, closing off, we'll go through the next steps of what you might need to prepare for the next few days. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting day, guys, so stay engaged, ask questions, and most importantly, enjoy the experience.
Yes, and if you have any questions, the FLUI team is here to help. You can message us on Discord and we will help you out. But if you need help right now, we have people in FLUI t-shirts or in a FLUI lanyard, which is a light pink and yellow one, and we'll be able to help you. Or you can find Shireen and Verity. They're our amazing logistics team and they will have all answers. If it is an emergency, please call campus security or police. You can dial 3838 on any internal line for campus security, guys. So please be safe. Now we would like to welcome on stage our presidents, Anushka and Angelina. They're a huge part of the success of this hackathon and they have a few words to share with you guys.
Really cute, don't we? Okay, hello everyone. Nice to see everyone here. I'm Anushka, the external president.
And I'm Angelina, the internal president.
And we want to wish you a very warm welcome to FLUI 2025. For those of you that don't know, this is the second year that FLUI is taking place. And man, has it been quite the journey. We've spent countless days and nights working towards making this hackathon a reality. And seeing you all gathered here today feels like we've truly come full circle. I actually took part in FLUI last year. I didn't win, that's okay. I got over it. But it was one of the best experiences I ever had for many reasons. It was the first time I got to dip my feet into the industry, the first time I worked with complete strangers on a wonderful project, and also the first time I got to interact with real-world clients, which is often such an intimidating feat. So to have to do that with this large supportive community of students felt so rewarding. And so to honor that, Angelina and I were thrilled to take this initiative and turn it into a worthwhile legacy for future years. But as the saying goes, dreams are better when shared. We couldn't have done this alone. So a huge shout out to our wonderful team here at FLUI. That's right. That we've been putting to the test since last summer. You guys are truly the heart and soul of this hackathon, and we appreciate you putting your everything into this event. Thank you for keeping your enthusiasm at the top throughout this journey, and we promise we'll treat you guys after we're done because we know you deserve it.
You guys definitely do. Now bringing it back to you guys, we cannot tell you how excited we are to be standing here on this stage surrounded by all of this creative energy and so much talent. I can just feel it circulating across the room. And I just want to remind each and every single one of you that as designers, we hold such a vital role in this world. No matter what those LinkedIn do posts are going to be telling you. Design isn't just about aesthetics or about making buttons look pretty. Design is one of the most powerful, universal languages that we have. It's a language that shapes how people experience the world around them. And so, no pressure, but every single button that you place and every color that you choose, every single little interaction that you're going to be refining in your Figma prototypes this week has the power to delight and uplift all types of users. And that's the responsibility that we carry as designers. We don't just create products. We shape behavior. We influence culture. And let's be honest, sometimes they'll make life just a little bit less frustrating. And that's an achievement in and of itself.
Absolutely. And for those of you who have competed in hackathons before and are new to this experience, because I know a lot of people are new here, we hope you find something truly special and unique about FLUI. We tried our absolute best to stand out from the rest. This year we've lined up exciting workshops, a unique and diverse range of clients, and a wonderful networking mixer. Because we really want you to realize that it's more than just a 3-day competition. It's about learning, making mistakes, building your network, and most of all, finding your community.
Exactly. Because here's the thing. This hackathon isn't just about what you design. It's about who you design it with. So, look around you. Right now, you're surrounded by some brilliant minds, future colleagues, mentors, and potential lifelong collaborators. I am personally totally testament to this. Some of my bestest friends still to this day, we've collaborated on design projects together. So, you never know. Someone in this room might inspire your next big idea, or challenge the way that you think, or even be the reason you land your dream job one day, if you thought about that. There is so much knowledge, inspiration, and support in this room, so please take advantage of it. This is your guys' moment to experiment, explore, and most importantly, have fun! Now, let me ask you this. Are you guys excited?
You have to do better than that.
Are you guys excited? And with that, we are beyond honored to officially declare FLUI 2025 Hackathon open! Now let's talk about our wonderful MCs.
Thank you, Anushka and Angelina. I hope you guys are excited after that speech. I do want to thank the entire FLUI team. It was truly a labor of hard work, so thank you. It wouldn't be possible without our sponsors and community partners, so a huge shout out to our sponsors, Panground Foundry, Refoundry, Ideas School of Design at Capilano University, and Lumiere Cafe, and also our community partners, Emily Carr University of Art and Design, EA, Notion IUBC, Omnia, and Boba Talks. Thank you so much for fostering innovation and creativity in the design community.
Now, let's talk about how this hackathon is kind of structured, and so you know what to expect throughout the week. So basically, this hackathon is structured in 3 main phases, starting with the opening ceremony. So today, you'll find out who your client is and what challenge you'll be working on. And then it's followed by phase 2, which is the design days. So you'll have 3 days to design, and you'll be able to collaborate with your mentors during this time as well, and attend workshops. So really use this time to ask questions and get feedback, because this will really help with your progress. And then lastly, we have the closing ceremony. So on this day, the 3 final teams will present their projects, and then the judges will determine the first, second, and third place winners. And then we'll also be handing out 5 additional criteria winners who are separate from the top 3. And this will be announced on the day of the closing ceremony, so be sure to attend the closing ceremony in case your team is one of the winners.
And guys, stay connected on Discord because that's where all the updates are going to be. All the information, links, RSVPs are going to be shared there. Owen and Shireen are our participant moderators, so they'll be able to help you.
Speaking of Discord, this will be our main communication channel throughout the hackathon. So you should already be on the channel, but just in case if you aren't, you can scan the QR code and join, and this will be where you'll access a lot of your important information, like your your team number and your mentor number. So this is where you'll be able to reach out to them and you know who to reach out to. And then you also have your client meeting links, which you'll use to communicate with your clients and get more details from them. And then you also have your client brochure PDF, which is kind of like a guide of the project details. And then you have the workshop meeting links, so you don't miss out on any important sessions. And you also have to RSVP through them as well. And then you have a hackathon survival guide that we kind of made for you, because we know that this might be the first time some of you are collaborating or even meeting each other for the first time, or maybe it's your first hackathon. So we kind of made this survival guide for you as kind of like some help with like resources and some icebreakers to kind of help you to get to know your team. But yeah, if you had any questions or needed help from us or any like the support for the FLUI, from the FLUI team, this is the place to reach out to. But yeah, be sure to get on Discord and stay updated. And yeah.
And we have amazing workshops like Anushka was mentioning. We have them scheduled as for what you might need during the design period. But we have Figma prototyping by Raven, iterative design practices for accessible UX by Ava. Robin will be talking about portfolio storytelling. Siddhant will be doing portfolio critique. And Crystal will let you know all about networking. So don't miss out. You do have to RSVP for all of these workshops, and you can find the RSVP in the designated channel on Discord. The first one is today at 6 p.m. Where Raymond will talk about Figma prototyping, so make sure you RSVP for that as well. Stay engaged, guys. These are workshops that will also help you with the judging criteria, but not just the hackathon. Just like in life, in your design career, it will become very important. So don't miss out. Ask questions. These are industry experts. And other than workshops, we also have mentors here to support you. And hopefully you have met them today or you have chatted to them over on Discord. But these are the people who will help you in your progress, so feedback and defining your sort of how you want to move forward during the design period. They are the people to ask out for. These are also industry specialists, I guess, and they will be able to help you. So we want to thank all mentors who are here because they also have taken time out of the busy schedules to actually support you guys. So a huge round of applause for your mentors, guys. They are the true gems of the industry. I have mentors who have told me how to get into the industry, what to say, what not to say, what to put in your portfolio. So stay engaged, stay connected even after the hackathon. And meetings with your mentors are self-directed, so find a time where it works for all of you and you can meet them. Make sure that you meet with them before the 10 a.m. client call that you have tomorrow so that they can help guide you. And the nitty-gritty, the submission. So we have 3 submission deliverables. The first one being a process deck. This is sort of like a clear and concise presentation of your work. It needs to have what the problem you were trying to solve, what your design is, and how you got there. Make sure that this PDF is very particular to your design. Don't put everything and anything in. Make sure that the research insights are very targeted to your final product so that there's a lot of storytelling in it. The next one is a YouTube presentation and it needs to be 5-minute max. Guys, and I'm going to repeat this. 5-minute max. Anything beyond is a disqualification, so make sure you hit just 5 minutes or under. This is basically where you're pitching your work. Don't read off of the deck, please sell it. This is what the judges are going to view. So it needs to be persuasive, engaging, and really making it sell. Make sure that this is an unlisted or a public link so that the judges can actually view it. The last thing you'll need to give is a Figma prototype link, and teams will have to give one link to their flow of design. Make sure it just has one link and not multiple flows within that link so that the judges are viewing the correct one and it starts from the starting point of your design. All of this, you need to make sure that everything is formatted right, that people other than your team are actually able to view all of this. And if you have any questions, we're always here to help. For the submission deadline, that is the one date you guys need to remember. It's Wednesday, February 19th at 12 p.m. sharp. The form will close at 12 p.m. Anything after is a disqualification. And we truly don't want that because your work, the hard work you put, we want the judges to give the feedback. It's not just about winning, it's about getting that good feedback, making those iterations. So make sure that you hit that submit button before 12 and that it goes through at 12 and that you're not trying to load through the 12 p.m. on that day. So yeah, we're here to help. Ask on Discord if you have any questions. We will be sending out reminders and the submission link on Discord as well, so keep an eye out for that.
Alright, let's kind of break down how the judging process is going to work this year, because we decided to kind of like do something a little different. So this year we've managed to bring together 12 amazing judges from various backgrounds. And what we're doing this year is we're pairing up the judges together so that in pairs they'll be evaluating team projects together, and then after that they'll be selecting their top 2 teams to move forward. And then after that, all the judges will come together to then select from the top 12 teams. The top 3 will then move forward to the closing ceremony and present their 3 final projects. And then at the closing ceremony is when the judges will be determining the first, second, and third place winners. And then additional to the 5 criteria winners that will also be awarded. And then we also want to be very transparent with you guys about how the judging process, about how the judging criteria would work. So on the Discord, you'll also find a copy of the judging criteria, so you know kind of what to look out for and what to expect.
And what was mentioning the judging criteria. Now these are only a part of the judging criteria, but these are the ones we picked out for additional criteria awards. The storytelling, visual design, client adherence, usability, and iterative process are the 5 criteria awards. These are separate from the top 3 that Yuna was mentioning. And if that wasn't motivation enough to get recognition, we still have awards and prizes. The top 3 winners get cash prizes, with the third prize winner getting $400, the second prize winner getting $700, and the first place winner getting $1,000. We also have EA game codes for the criteria award winners, and each team will get 2 if you win. So stay excited, guys. You might be one of those winners.
The number of smiles I saw when you announced the prizes.
Everyone's excited, but guys, recognition, feedback, come on.
The learning. But we know that was a lot of information for you all to take in, so now it's finally time for a well-deserved lunch break, and I think you'll have a longer time. So make sure to grab some lunch, recharge, visit the booths, and then make sure to be back by 1 p.m. for our judges fireside chat. Thank you.
Guys, there is also booths outside. If you didn't get time, the Creative Solutions, Roblox, and Motion and UBC are going to have booths, so chat with them and see what they have to offer to you guys. Enjoy the lunch.
Alright, welcome back guys. We hope you all enjoyed your lunch break. Now that we're back, we would love to get started with our fireside chat with our judges. So I would love it if the judges could join us on stage so we can get started. Alright, and then unfortunately some of our judges couldn't make it today. Shout out to Lucas who had prior commitments, Max's on the brochure. But today we're joined by Matt, Vidget, and Charlie. Thank you so much for being here. If you could just kind of give a little introduction about yourself, a bit about your background, and maybe what excites you the most about being part of FLUI 2025.
Sounds good. Should I start? Well, my name is Matt. I'm sure some of you guys know me, and I know some of you guys as well. Hi everyone. I'm a coach and a mentor in multiple institutions, as well as doing that one under my own company for Only Consulting. I also work as a UX consultant for corporations, and in a nutshell, that's who I am.
Hey everyone, I'm Richard. I'm a senior experience designer at EA, and very excited to be part of FLUI. I've been part of several different UX and design related hackathons, UBC and SFU, and it's a good opportunity to come here and really interact with budding designers and kind of see what ideas you have. And that's probably my introduction. I have a background in computer science, and I kind of pivoted from being a dev towards design. And I've worked in different kind of industries. I've been in startups, I've been in mid-sized firms, and now in the gaming industry with EA.
Hi, can you hear me without the mic?
Yeah.
Okay, great. The mic makes me a little nervous. My name's Charlie. I use they, them pronouns, and I am a senior UX designer at TD. TD and most financial institutions have two sides of design. So they have an implementation side, which is working on problems that are now. So anything that would happen with any interface or platform, someone is working in sprints with developers and UX designers and researchers working on those problems. And then there's the other side of the bank that works in the future and tries to solve problems that are happening now, but you solve for the best case scenario 3 to 5 to 10 years out. And so I work on a team at the bank that works on loyalty across the bank and solves for the future. I've been there a year and it's remote, and so my whole team is in Toronto. Before working at TD, I was a UX design consultant at PwC for a couple of years. My background, I have a double major in oil painting and statistics, and I did a career pivot 4 years ago. And in that career pivot, I was a developer as well for a 6-month, very short contract with Porter Airlines. And then I went into design full-time. And I'm excited to be here because I did my last and first UX-a-thon last month. And I had no idea what to expect. And I was really blown away by literally everything, like the work, the organization, the people that I met. And so I'm really excited to see what this one brings.
All right, thank you. All right, so to kind of start things off, myself and the FLUI team have kind of formatted some questions to ask you, and then after that we'll just be opening the Slido and to the boards for the participants to ask any questions after, so if that's all right with you, we can just get started. So the first kind of question we had for you was about kind of putting yourself out there, because taking the first steps in our careers, even as like students, it's really hard for us to kind of like put ourselves out there, like whether it's like applying for your first job or even like doing a hackathon. So it can be really intimidating. So for first-time hackathon participants, I'm just being here, like I'm really glad that you're actually putting themselves out there and taking that first step. But yeah, so moving on to the question, what do you think is the best way to overcome fear and hesitation and kind of like get comfortable with rejection and kind of build skills through hands-on experience?
Yeah, I can go first. I think the best way is just rejection therapy, getting used to rejection as much as you can. Because the worst that can happen is like somebody ghosting you, just saying no. That's the worst thing. And in a best case scenario, like somebody would be willing to talk about themselves or talk about their career, which is a good leeway of like kind of building networks. Coffee chats is another great thing where you can kind of ask people to just kind of pick up their brain, kind of learn more about their industry and how they broke into the industry. So yeah, those are some ways like I would kind of encourage. And also like networking events or hackathons like these are also great where you get to interact with judges and mentors, and there's always so much to learn.
I feel like my mentor told me when I was applying for jobs to be applying for ones that I didn't necessarily want or ones that I didn't think were a good fit so that I could get practice and feel like the stakes were kind of low. And doing that in the beginning kind of felt like a big waste of time because, you know, some of the rounds of UX interviews can be like 8 rounds or something ridiculous like that, and you're doing all these take-home tests, but in practicing for that, it made the ones that mattered. I was like less nervous about speaking, and by that time, like either, you know, they were catching a vibe that I actually wasn't very interested in the job and they would reject me, or I would reject them, but it was just like practice in negotiating, and maybe I'm in a interview that I don't really want to be in, and I'm asking for like a wild amount of money, but it was like a nice practice in asking for like what I really wanted, and someone may be like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, thank you, you're right, thank you, bye-bye. So that's something that I still do now, and something that I encourage junior folks that I know to do, to be always interviewing, because a lot of times when you're in a job, that's how they mark your value, is by how other people value you. So if they know that you're always interviewing, it's a way to maintain a standard of your salary. And also, yeah, I feel like I've been rejected a lot, and it is through, unfortunately, exposure to therapy. And yeah, in my experience, doing it where the stakes are a little less.
I think main points have been covered, but I think one thing that I would say is just considering that, where you guys are at, and putting myself back into the same chairs at one point in my life. Don't give a shit about what other people think about you. Really. And that's, I think, one of the things that we learn from our parents or society. And you think you know, but subconsciously you don't. And that's, if you don't know the word subconscious and conscious, you have to learn that, because it's going to change your life drastically. And you have no idea how much stuff you're running right now subconsciously. So many of you guys are looking at me, but not in here. And so many of you guys are totally getting so much stuff out of it. Not from me, I mean, and everyone, right? So that's what I'm talking about. And subconsciously, we think that, I don't want to raise that hand, and I don't want to, have that judgment going on me. What could go wrong, right? You get ridiculed, so what? Right? It's the same thing. So you just need to keep pushing it. One thing that I want to mention about this one is specifically, so when I had my first job, or one of my first jobs, I worked as a World Vision door knocker kind of person. Does anyone know World Vision, by the way? Nope. Well, one person. So, in a nutshell, at least when I was doing it, I have no idea how they gave it evolved, but you have a bunch of pictures of kids on your hand, and you're literally going door to door and then telling these individuals, would you like to adapt them? And adapting means you're going to pay $20 or $30 a month at a time, which is like $1 a day. That's the sales pitch, right? And ultimately you're going to get the kid adapted. I cannot express how much rejection you would get from going door to door in a rainy day, cold day, whatever the case it is. And if you're thinking that, I must be making such a good amount of money, I think minimum was 8 at the time, and I think we were doing $9.50 or something like that, so it's just mind-blowing. The point of the story is, there was a statistics. If you knock 50 doors, out of the 49 that's rejected, 1 you will get it. So you have to knock 100 doors to get 2. And whoever gets 2, by the way, is the number 1 salesperson by the end of the night, which is crazy when you think about it right now. We knock roughly 200 average, every single person. So the point of the story is the same thing as, how can you overcome fear and hesitation? You just need to keep practicing it. And again, going back to subconscious and conscious, just go back, when you were a little baby, right? And you were not able to walk. Did you have actual fear about not being able to walk? No, you just keep pushing it, before you know it, you start walking, right? It's the same concept. Okay.
Great, thank you. So, insightful responses, we appreciate it a lot. As students, I feel like it's really easy to let rejection stop you, but you should really take it as sort of a sign you're doing the right thing. You're headed down the right path. The more you do it, the easier it'll get. And do it scared. I think that's something that we're talking about. Also, I'm Owen. I'm going to be helping out with the fireside chat. I introduced myself earlier. I'll just put that out there. Yeah, great. So that sort of leads us into the next question, which is another area of sort of uncertainty for a lot of students, I think. So outside of the Emily Carr Interaction Design Program, maybe some places at Brain Station or some online certifications, it's sort of hard to find a class that will sort of teach you how to be a product designer or like those hard skills. So a lot of people coming into UX design sort of come through related fields, so whether that's like fine arts, psychology, media studies, oil painting, it can be challenging. So when you don't have the technical backgrounds, the design backgrounds, you come into it and pivot even later in your career. So the question is, how might one best navigate that shift into tech and design? And what advice would you give to students who are unsure about making that leap?
Yeah, I can start. I think the best part about UX design, UI design is any person from any different field can really contribute. Specifically if you are in a field that's not very tangentially related to design, you need to amplify that. I think it's kind of like superpower, like if you have a specific niche that you have a background in, you can bring a very unique perspective to your specific field. As I was kind of talking to Charlie about it, with my work at EA, I'm not a big gamer. And that's, a lot of people kind of think that that's kind of like a prerequisite, like if you're working at EA or any kind of gaming company, but it's not. And it's generally a very interesting battle where I have to deal with a lot of designers who are passionate gamers versus someone who has a very different lens, and that really provides a broadening in the way you kind of design things. And that's also a way where you can distinguish yourself from others, because the field is very competitive, and if you can have kind of like a story that whatever your previous background was and how it can be transformed into the current work you're doing for design, I think that journey is really important. And from that piece, I feel if you're a great storyteller, that is also another thing that you need to constantly practice and kind of do well in like interviews or any kind of networking events. And that also kind of makes you a little bit different than all the people that are coming from like maybe boot camps or like different programs out there.
I think you made great points on that part. So one of the things that I would mention is, I see things, okay, it's going to be a little bit, if you guys don't know me, I try to see things in more on the Buddhistic approach. And so one of the things that I see on this one is, if you combine it with psychology, it's a limited belief. So how can students from non-tech background confidently transition to tech and design? That's pure, like when you were saying it, I just wanted to shout out bullshit. Because it's a limited belief. Especially when you're coming from any other area to, tech related or design related stuff. Like design is, you're thinking that you're a UX designer and you're thinking that your entire 100% of the day is going to be designing, like you're setting up yourself as a failure, just FYI. It's going to be more communication than designing ever in your life. So, and there are certain things that's not being told, and I have no idea why. And this is one of the reasons why I love coming and supporting these events, because I want to share those things with you, so that you guys can make yourself ready. To go a little bit of a tangent on that one, if your entire household does not know how to manage money, you better learn that damn skill right now before you actually get into so much debt in your adulthood. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So the design skills is one part of it. Yes, of course, we need to know how to do Figma. To dive into this part very briefly, one of the things that we, as a hiring manager, as well as someone who has done this process in coaching as well, there are three things that people look at: can, want, and do. So the first one is can. Can this person, use all these tools that's been mentioned, like Figma, all that kind of stuff, right? And then they look at your portfolio, and then they see that, okay, you can do those things. The second part is want. How badly do you want this job? And when I say how badly you want this job, not because you want to get some money and then so you can actually survive, Like, do you really have interest on working in EA? Right? I worked one of my first jobs as a corporate jobs after contract and transition to full-time as auto trader. I'm a guy, and it's a stereotype, I know, but you know, I should love cars, right? I had not even an effing clue about the cars whatsoever. So one of the things that they say is make and model. I'm like, I know what make is, but I have no idea what model is. Or I know what model is, but I don't know what make is. It's as dumb as that. But when you go into the job, you learn about these things. The person still hired me, no matter what I did not know. The body types, I didn't even know what the heck is body type, like there's a car with 4 doors and 2 doors, like that's how I call them, right? Etc. So it's a limited belief. But if I had that limited belief, and if I walked into that interview, I would not be able to show that I want this job. You got that right? So now we get into the one part. Now the last step is do part, and that's where everyone gets failed and there's only one person is being selected, because do part is now prove that you have done this. Remember in the can part, you said that I did Figma designs and here's my portfolio, and now show it to me that how your experience is matching with this specific job that you're looking for. And again, if you have a limited belief, you're not going to get that job, and most of you guys have that limited belief, unfortunately, because you're coming out from school and you're thinking that I don't know anything. Hey, I've been there. How many times you sit down in the PPA exam and then you say that, oh shit, I forget everything. Right? It's the same kind of mentality. But then once you start writing, then now, okay, things are kind of coming down, right? So that's what I would say that, that's the confidence that you need. So you need to break those limited beliefs, and ultimately you can actually just move on. And then once you figure out your transferable skills as well, then most of the percentage is already been transferred to tech and design part of the things. And then you have to work hard to learn the, whatever that you want to learn, whether it's a coding or design tools, etc. Right? So, thank you.
I don't know how you do this confidently. I feel like you can fake it till you make it, but I don't have any advice on that part. But I feel like both of these folks have said, I think that you can go into UX, obviously, from any background. Totally transparently, it is very clear when someone comes from an arts background. It really depends on the job, but if you are from an arts background, I think for a lot of roles you have a leg up. For me, at least when I'm looking at portfolios, it's clear when I'm looking at that from face value. But I feel like if you come from a different background, lean into that and lean into it hard, because that's something that I personally, when I'm hiring or looking at junior folks, I want to see that. You have a science background, you have a marine biology background, apply that to UX and teach me something that I did not know at all. When you're going into those portfolio reviews, you have the ability to blow the socks off of whoever you are showing your work to. And if you have work that that person or that panel may not know, that is huge. In my experience, in interviews, my third job that I got was at that consulting agency, and I got that job because the guy that hired me, or that I guess poached me from my previous job, he had bought an oil painting that I did that was in our really small bar campus, and he had followed my work since then, and he reached out and he was like, oh my gosh, so I just went to school, let's get you on this team. And so I feel like that kind of lens can be applied to regardless of what you're in. It can be art, it can be science, it can be math, people that know that you are really good within your field and the work that you do. As time goes on and those people go into those fields or other fields, they're gonna remember you and hopefully try to poach you at some point.
That was a lot of great insights, actually. I feel like From my experience, I also came to Harvard with the intention of going into illustration or animation, and so kind of when I made that transition to UX, I didn't actually know what it was or what the industry was even like. So it was very like intimidating at first, but I think, yeah, like kind of like what Vision Matt also talked about. If there's like that one thing that you're really passionate about and that one thing that you're really good at doing, I think you're able to kind of transfer that skill set into UX and really like implement that into your designs as well. And then you're able to contribute really something really great into a team. So even if you're coming from like a different background, like it's okay. The transfer like isn't as scary as
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say that I feel like for you, like as an illustrator or anyone that has like a niche, if you're going into a big company, a lot of those companies don't have arts or other backgrounds like on board. Like for TD, like there's gaps like in the UI, there's huge gaps. It means that and if there are those gaps within those companies, it means that they're contracting out. So if you have those niche skills or niche lenses, then it is really helpful to put that at the forefront of your portfolio, because sometimes something that you think could be not great, like if you were like, I used to be an illustrator and that was like my lens, it's like someone from TD could be like, sick, we don't have any illustrators on our team and we're always contracting that out, and wow, that really sucks. This person at the front of the pile. So I feel like, yeah, something like that, really great.
Agree, thank you. I'm glad you think so. Because yeah, it's really important to still have those skills to kind of like stay adaptive and like, because like this like field is always like evolving and changing. So it's really important to stay adaptive in that way, which kind of transitions into our next question, which is kind of on the topic of AI, because AI's kind of been like rapidly transforming the industry these days. Like it can like whether it's like automating tasks for you or it's kind of introducing new creative possibilities, like you can give AI a prompt and it like creates an artwork for you. So like while some view it as a powerful tool, others kind of worry about how its impact on job security and the creative process. So as senior designers in your respective fields, whether it was like in finance, gaming, consulting, just like have you ever experienced AI's effects in your work, or do you see AI as an opportunity or a challenge? And kind of, if you have any advice you would like to give to students on staying adaptable and like relevant in this environment?
For sure. So, from the AI perspective, I think you guys have been hearing it a lot that, AI will not replace you, but the person who uses AI will replace you, right? It's a very common concept. And when you dive into it, it's quite true actually. So, I stick with that mindset as well. If you can actually figure it out how to use it for your advantage, then you're going to be much more efficient, and then you will be ultimately able to deliver what you're looking for faster than him. And if he is much efficient than Charlie, then that's going to be him who's going to be like getting hired, right? So of course, I told you rather simplify everything, assuming that our skill levels were the same, and none of us amazing illustrator, etc., like that too, right? And those does have an extra points as well, because let's be honest, AI can create really deep images, right? So it's just making issues with the typographies and all that kind of stuff as well. So I think if you can figure it out how to use it for your advantage, just go for it. I do believe, this is absolutely my opinion, with what I have read so far, the events that I've been attending, all that kind of jazz. I do believe that there is going to be a workforce cut. And what I mean by that is, so you won't be having maybe 10 UX designers, but maybe there will be 1 or 2 UX designers. And then they will be working with these AI agents. And if you don't know the concept of AI agent, I would highly recommend you to go search it, understand what they are, how they're being implemented, all that kind of jazz, right? And once you figure that one out, then you're going to see that those UX designers might also get replaced by those AI agents as well. So there's this fear, I think, is going to still, I think always is going to exist. Like, what's happening in Europe with the US and Canada and European Union and all that kind of thing as well. So there is that fear. But again, how are you taking that action towards that fear is what's going to shape your life. So we can all sit down in here and talk about, AI is fearful, it's going to get my job. I was just talking with a client of mine in the morning, and one of the things that we discussed is you are being reactive versus proactive, right? So if your job is already being taken away from you because of AI, now you're reactive mode. I want you to be proactive. So you need to proactively look for what is the other alternative that you can do if AI seems, attack your field or trying to, get what you're going after as well. Because you're not going to beat it. I think that's the fact. But again, someone can challenge me anyways. But so just figure that part out, and after that, you're going to see further from there, right? And then you're going to go further, and then you're going to go further. I think the era of kind of like, I've been working for this company for 20 years is gone. It's done. So just keep in your mind that anything can change at any moment. But this should not create worry. That's what I'm trying to say. You have to be resilient to that. Remember the first question being asked, you have to have that, it's like a muscle training, right? If you're going to the workout, if you want to big muscle biceps, you do the bicep curl. So it's the same kind of idea, so how can you actually, strengthen that feeling, right? So.
I would have a little slightly different opinion on AI and how it will impact our field. Specifically, I would say it's exciting times, especially for designers, especially for user experience designers, because as long as users are going to be using any kind of tool, any kind of product, we'll always be relevant. I don't know if companies will hire more or hire less, that time will tell. But the only thing is, as you were kind of mentioning, that we need to keep up with whatever is happening. That's very, very important. And with different modalities that are coming in, where you have like the Ray-Ban classes, you have the Vision Pro, and there'll be so many other tools as well, and like other modalities that you have to design for. You still need designing UX to understand what the user wants and kind of cater it towards that. And because tech industry is expanding at such a fast pace, and there will be different ways of interacting, even with take a case of like ChatGPT or any kind of LLM. Now, most users used to use it as an augmented tool. Right now, it's just kind of replacing the search engine where people are just directly asking questions on LLMs instead of like Google or any kind of search engine. So the way of interaction has changed, and to adapt to that, the designers also need to learn how that interaction is changing. So where I would say is, with keeping up, it's really important to kind of understand how the machine learning models are working, not to code them, but to understand like how they're utilizing data to present whatever it is on different kinds of tools. I think that's really, really important. And the second thing is it definitely augments and superpowers your workflows. I do a lot of user research. I use LLMs to help me with transcriptions, kind of highlighting different themes in it. It used to take me like 2 hours, now it takes me 15 minutes to do the same. Same with like Figma. Figma has like amazing plugins and it's incorporating AI in everything and anything. And most tools will do that. So just keeping up with how to utilize these tools, because you will lag behind if you're not adopting it in your workflows. I think those are the two most important things. And in general, because the tech industry, the design industry is changing so fast, you need to keep reading as much as you can. I made a habit, like I subscribe to some like design communities, like 3-5 articles a day. As a practice before even starting my job. And that kind of helps me staying relevant and kind of being in touch with whatever is happening out there. And I feel that will become more and more important rather than just kind of getting siloed in whatever work you're doing for your industry or the kind of job you are doing.
I feel like the work that I do, because it's in the future, it looks at trends in like conceptual way, and so I feel like AI impacts my field because AI is so much of what we're thinking about, what could happen in the future and how people could be interacting with it in the future. But like any financial institution, we have a lot of security and a lot of privacy, so we can't interact with AI tools because of security. But it is still used, it's just used a little more sparingly. So I would say that if you are in UX, I would suggest doing prompt engineering courses. I feel like they're very accessible, they're free, some of them, and they're really helpful in my experience. And I think that keeping up with trends and taking like whatever like small supplemental certificates and like gathering those as you progress has worked for me, and I've seen it work for others. And I think that that can be something that is like the small thing that makes you stand out again. I am not concerned about AI taking my job, but I have talked with other UX folks that are concerned about that, and when they are concerned about it, they lean more into the strategy side as opposed to doing things in UX like journey mapping or something that could be, you know, I give you an input, AI gives me an output, there's a journey map, 5 minutes. If you're leaning into UX design strategist as even like a title, I think that opens you up to a whole different set of roles and assumptions about what that means you can do. But yeah, having that strategist tagline, I think makes you a little more resilient. But yeah, I think UX content designers I know generally are worried about AI taking their jobs. But again, like within banks, we can't put in any like information into an AI model that will give us actual information that we could then put on a platform. So I think a part of it too is like thinking about broadening your minds about like what field you could be in and thinking about job security in relation to that like specific specific company. If that makes sense.
Yeah, if you don't mind, that's a great point that you made. One of the things that happened is I think on Monday, I attended an event that was about the AI. If I'm not mistaken, I couldn't find it on my phone, but it was from World Forum to showcase this statistical data, and there's like 10 skills that they're looking for. AI is right now only covering 3 of them. So there's like that 7 skills that as a human, we are able to provide still. There is a critical thinking and all that kind of jazz and whatnot. The fear of, again, the AI is, it's ultimately going to reach there as well. But again, just progress with what you know and where you want to go, and don't worry about it too much. So, and there are different departmental industries that's going to be affected heavily versus very little versus none, right? Like if in the COVID time frame, if you were in the government sector, you probably been hit by the layoffs or whatnot. After that, people actually start affecting, but the IT sectors were going down, right? Like stuff like that. So there are always certain industries will be safe, depending on the challenges that the world throws at them, AI throws at them, etc. So, and that's what I'm trying to say. You can never guess what that is. So it's just almost like waste of time to worry about something that you cannot predict. It's an exponential function.
Great. Yeah, thanks for soothing some concerns about AI. It can be definitely very scary when you're seeing all the stuff that it's able to do, the stuff that it's soon promised to be able to do. But I think a great tip is to just, like you just said, just keep reading, keep yourself informed of how you can better yourself as a designer, as a strategist, to sort of stay ahead of that. And I think that applies for UX design, for tech as a whole. Yeah, that's good advice. So let's give another warm round of applause for the first section of the conversation. Hopefully answering some of those screening questions. You guys had some questions come up in your head. Now will be your opportunity to raise them. So if we could get the Slido QR code up there, so scan that, ask your question, and we'll give our judges a minute or two to drink some water and refresh. We'll see you in a minute.
So we had a few really good questions come in, so we're just gonna jump right into it. Alright, so I think we have a really popular question that people have upvoted. So the first one is there anything you've seen in a resume or portfolio or cover letter that is an instant rejection?
Yeah. Spelling and grammar. I am not great at grammar and also not great at spelling, so I get other people to check my work often. Also, AI, love spell check sometimes it doesn't work. But that is something, if you're submitting a resume, sometimes it's unfortunate. You're like, wow, damn, this person has such great skill sets, and I wish that they spelled high right, or whatever. You're like, come on, this is we gotta pass these through a couple things, and if it's made it through that, and you're submitting that widely, let's make sure the grammar and spelling are on par.
I feel any kind of visualization for skills, generally if you have a skill rating of high, medium, low, it's kind of vague. It does not imply anything in that. It might look good on a resume.
That's your due pass. If someone has that in their resume, you're like, nah, make a note of that.
I would say they're definitely in a lower pecking order than maybe just people were listing their skills and
What if all of the sliders are excellent?
what's the point?
What if I color coded it?
Now they're teasing. You don't need to answer these.
I was really asking.
From my perspective, I don't trust AI and the ATS system as well. So I actually manually take a look at the resumes. And I work with the HR or the recruiter if I have one, and I tell them that stop it because there's already 100 people and there's no way I can actually take a look at 100 people. So then I pass it to the leads, then they will be taking a look at those individuals. The instant rejection for us is if you did not follow through the basic job description, which just says 3+ year experience, and you're just saying I'm about to graduate and I only have one semester left. If that's in your intro or bio or whatever it is, that's going to, and this is nothing against for students or anyone else. The same thing applies if you're looking for a senior with 8+ years experience. If someone's applying with 3+ years experience, that will be a challenge. And so I know it's a question, very direct question, but it's not sometimes as simple as it is. So maybe in some cases, you have a limited amount of applicants applying for it. So now, yes, I know I asked 8+, but there's someone with 5+ in there. So to give you a little bit of a secret from my perspective, when I'm doing the hiring, someone who worked on an agency, that's just like a golden person for me, because agency is tough. It's very hard to work on it, turn it around, working on those, project management people and all that jazz, okay? So, it's almost like if someone says that I've been working with the agency for 3 years, that's almost 6 years that they've been doing the work.
It's like dog years. When you're out of it, it's rough.
Yes, so exactly. So as it's been proven as well. The point is proven. So that's that. So it's not as simple as that, but just keep in mind that instant rejection, the ATS system is just instantly rejected. Just as simple as that. So whatever they have a bias system in the background, unfortunately. I do know one thing, and I actually had a chance to check this one with a candidate who have tried different names. It made me so frustrated. This individual, I can't remember the pronouns at the moment, but she went from Tyler, Tom, and all that kind of stuff, and she, I think, ended up Tim or something like that is the one that was well selected for the resume or something like that. As weird as it sounds, I said, like, do you have a data on this one? And then she said, yeah, I do have a data. And I'm like, I was like just frustrated with it. Just hearing that, it just made me very upset. So, I'm sorry, I would love to help you guys out on this one, but I have no idea what companies use as an ATS system and how biased they are and all that kind of jazz. So my number one thing to you, if you don't want to get rejected, try to find a way to, conquer the castle from the inside. So if you want to work for TV, there you go, now you have a connection. That doesn't mean that, there will be a referral coming, right? But you need to build that relationship and then, and just cherish it. And then ultimately, you're going to go there and then that person will be start thinking about you and hopefully, when you apply, oh yeah, I remember this person. That's what I find that's really.
Yeah, I agree with that. Any way that you can avoid those initial systems is very, very positive. I feel like when you're submitting directly to someone and you've used AI for anything, for your resume or for something that's like actually writing. Again, I'm not a writer, but I can tell if someone just like put in, make me a resume for this job description and like attached the exact job description from LinkedIn, you can tell. And so I go to ChatGPT or whatever and I say, hey, was this generated from AI or did this person write it? And it can say, there's a percentage chance that this was written by AI. And I'm like, no, like it's just, I feel like for a cover letter, I want to see like a little bit of effort and to have it be short. Cover letter is really long. I'm not going to read it. If your portfolio is like really long, really wordy, I'm not going to read it. But yeah, I do think any way to get around that initial ATS, really very positive. I feel like that person who submitted all of those names and was a woman and then got in as Tim, I feel like maybe there's a larger social experiment there happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting around that first hurdle.
But if you miss that one, that's the part that I was mentioning can, want, and do. So this is the want part. Like, do you want that job, like just copy paste from ChatGPT? Like, I see that, you're not that much interested because you didn't even give any value to me to, take my time to indicate that you are really interested on that one. Write down why you're interested, working on, TD and how much you love playing with the numbers to, help out people to analyze their budgeting and all that kind of stuff. If that's the job description related stuff, whatever it is. But if you put it on the ChatGPT, it's going to tell me from the ChatGPT side of the story. So.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would say like have different kind of resumes, like have a bunch of them where if you're focusing on like interaction design or like the UX experience design or a UI design, you can amplify like different skill sets in each of those experiences. Or like you have experiences, it gets really clustered to put everything in one. Don't do that. Like they should be tailored according to kind of the job profile you're giving. And I feel another key thing that I mentioned is a lot of the times you can't share a lot on your portfolio as well, like if you have NDA restrictions or anything else. So you can mention key projects, like I've seen people do that, and it's a good segue, like especially if you're having a recruiter call or like that initial call, to focus on those projects and talk about it. And if you have space, like that's a caveat for that, but I think that also kind of reflects very well where it's not just cookie cutter resumes, you're kind of putting effort, kind of streamlining the way you want the recruiter to kind of see.
I also think in relation to the years, like how the ATS systems will just like cut you if you don't have those years. Another way to get around that is by knowing someone in that company. I personally don't feel like if you're going for a job that requires I think the job requirement for my job right now is 5 or 6 years. I have 4 years. I feel like there is a lot of flexibility within that. You just have to get around that first hurdle.
Yeah, and I feel most design companies and tech companies are kind of notorious with their junior designer positions where a lot of them say at least 3 years of experience. I would say don't get dissuaded by that. You can still kind of convey your experience through maybe the co-ops you've done, or the internship you've done, even like the coursework projects you've done, you can kind of also cater that into your experience.
Okay, great. That's a great question.
Great.
I definitely have some things to change about my resume. No, I got stop color coding. But just because we've talked a lot about now portfolios and resumes, I'm wondering if maybe there's a question lower. Sure. What would you recommend to help develop design vision for first/second year uni students? So people who are really entering university the first time in school.
Who asked this? And can you tell me what design vision means? What is what does that mean? Does that mean like
I for design?
like yeah, I don't get it.
Someone can shout it out, I'll close my eyes.
Does anyone have an interpretation of what that would mean? Do you know what it means?
No, I was just going to say, see, I just wanted to go back to, what we were answering as a question. This is precisely the point. So whoever asked this question, there's nothing to be, ashamed of. So you can just come out and then you can answer it, right? But I was thinking that when they were talking about design vision, I'm only assuming that, maybe in your career that, how you wanted to put your design career as a vision to put together. That's what I thought. You have to help design your design vision for first and second year universities. So mine was absolutely awful. So I took design courses, and I did not have a beautiful tool like Sketch or Figma or all those kind of jazz. I used freaking Photoshop for designing interfaces. Do you have any idea how painful that is? It was so painful. I can't even express it with words because you can only do like 10 or 15 times window. 10 or 15 times. So if you change it more than that or unlimited, your computer doesn't move. Because it slows down the entire system. But I think when you look at, I'm again just totally going through the idea of how I would build actually my career as a designer kind of concept. I would just stick with what are some of the tools that I will focus on. And most likely in about a year, it's going to be replaced with other tools, so I don't know how much you can create a vision around that. The idea is to, I think, keep, again, you need to be proactive. You cannot just be reactive as the things are happening, right? So if you're seeing that Figma is kind of sliding down, and then there's a new tool is kicking in, then you might want to actually give it a chance on that one. And some of my friends did that one, so they are quite good with Adobe Experience Design. There was some other tools as well, I can't remember right now, but sometimes you win, sometimes you don't, and that's as simple as that. From that perspective, I think you made a great point about, when you just, even starting your schoolwork day, just read 5 articles, or find a different influencer to follow. And when I say influencer, I see so many of them in LinkedIn as well. Guys, please check these people's About Me page. And I'm saying this in the nicest way. They have 3 years experience, which makes you guys much more expert than them. The only difference between you and them is they're just confident to speak up. That's it. They don't care about what people are commenting underneath them. I'm making a generalization here, so please also take it with a grain of salt. But just keep in mind that where you're getting your source is as important as what you're reading, right? It's not the practice makes it perfect, it's the perfect practice makes it perfect. That's all. And I'm going to leave it to that.
Okay, I think if this question means personally what a specific student should have, I feel like you should be looking for folks that inspire you, and when you're designing, look for things in other people's work that make you feel a certain way regardless of what that is, and have a lot of people that are influencing you when you're looking for that inspiration. And honestly, if you're doing internships, have those, know those people well enough that you know their names and you can say, this design was influenced by this and this and this, and like know those people's backgrounds. I feel like doing that name drop shows that you're reading, it shows that you're engaged in the design community. That's something that I feel like really stands out for me when I'm doing interviews. But I also feel like whenever you find something that you're like, I really like this, and I'm passionate about like the way that this looks and the way that this feels. The question before was about, oh, there's cookie cutters down there. I feel like when you have your own vision and you are owning that, just keep owning it. There's gonna be people that don't like it, and that's totally fine, whatever that job is. If someone discarded your work because they didn't like the way that you were presenting whatever, it means that that job isn't a good fit for you. I feel like when I graduated school, I had literally a powder pink cover letter and a powder pink resume, and it was like dark pink lettering, and my professor was like, no one is gonna hire you. This is like disgusting. And I was like, if you don't hire me, that's fine. I wanna work for a company that's gonna look at this pink resume and be like, wow, slay. And I feel like just owning that, and there was definitely a lot of rejections I got from that, but the people that liked it, Porter. Never thought Porter Airlines would like a powder pink resume. Here we are.
Yeah, I think another thing is like when you're first or second year students, you're kind of also figuring out what kind of design you're really passionate about or what industry you want to focus on. Try everything, whatever there is to try. Even if like you are getting internships or co-ops in certain things, try for non-profits, try for like NGOs, work for free, kind of getting more exposure and having those real life experiences under your belt. I think that really kind of defines you and also helps you to figure out what's your niche or like what's the specific area that you really want to kind of lean into. I think that should be the main focus, because you'll be doing a lot of coursework, you'll be having good foundation of tools and like the design patterns and guidelines. It's just real life exposure that's kind of lacking, and I feel the more you can build on that, the better you will be.
Cool, great, thank you. So it looks like we do have a lot of people, 27 people voted for the top question. So just like real quick, like one or two, personality or work speak for itself in a simpler portfolio.
Do you prefer seeing portfolios with lots of personality and great?
Without meeting the human, just seeing the portfolio face value?
I assume so. Does the person who asked this question want to clarify?
I feel like depends how you're showing that personality. Can you make your portfolio have personality and keep it short and sweet? Love to see it. If you're going to make a really complex portfolio that I have to spend a lot of time on and it's illegible because your personality's ingrained, maybe we do a little revamp of that portfolio. I think that there is something with the cookie cutter portfolio. It makes things, for me at least, it's like, okay, you know the trends that are out there right now, and yes, yours looks exactly the same, but I can read it really quickly. I think if like you're struggling to create a portfolio, I think that there is value in making it look like whatever other portfolios are out there that are being hired by FANG companies. I do think that there is value in that. But I'd say simple with like, I do want to know who you are. I want to know that we're not going to like butt heads upon like the initial meeting.
I think first and foremost, work definitely matters. Like if there's any kind of case study that you can kind of get or grab attention, I think that's like the biggest thing. And I've seen a lot of people, at least junior designers, that don't have a lot of case studies or projects that they want to showcase, and they sometimes showcase their portfolio as a project. Then you can kind of get into and have like your own personality and kind of also explain the process. In that case, I would say it makes a lot more sense investing a lot of time to kind of have this very catered towards your own personality kind of portfolio instead of like a more cookie cutter one. But I would say eventually as you kind of grow in your design career, I think it's just the projects that matter.
think we covered that quite well. You don't need to beat it.
Yeah, let's just see. Yeah, okay, so the next question, just like the top one, I think has a lot of upvotes as well. How do you, as senior designers, evaluate an intern's soft skills? Any favorite key terms?
From my perspective, when I'm looking at the resumes or portfolios, so this is becoming challenging due to the market, but I love meeting with people in person and understand where they're coming from. When you look at the resume, it's very challenging to find someone and judge them from that perspective, and I do feel that it's very unfair as well. I'll just put that one aside, okay? So there isn't any favorite key terms. If you're, how do you as a senior designer evaluate intern soft skills? So it's an internship job, but I should be having almost like minimum to none expectation, frankly speaking, okay? So in that case, I would be pretty much would give a chance to, anyone that has actually applied for it. But as we talk about the resume perspective, I would still take a look at, did you even care for your resume when you put it together, that whether the spelling mistakes that, the panel mentioned in here, etc., right? So I will be looking at those small details. And if there's anything that makes the other intern a little bit slightly better than the other intern, is it's going to be like some of the project that they might have done and how they're actually articulating that in the written word, I would say. So you guys might both have a volunteer job, but one is like talking about like how passionate that person has delivered that, and then the other one is just saying like I did this, we check GPT's bullet points, right? Like you can feel that one, so that's ultimately I'm going to select this one. So there isn't any favorite key terms, but I think it comes with experience, reading people, understanding, and I think the more we're looking at those resumes, the more we understand. Just like Charlie was mentioning, like you can totally like see the cookie cutter, portfolio, because it's literally cookie cutter, as you guys say. So.
Yeah, I think the most important, at least in my experience, has been how well they take feedback, how do they respond to critique. I think that kind of shows if you're going to be a good designer or a great designer. You can have the best skills, and the way you respond to feedback can be very, very different than like in a way that is impactful, is in a way that the person is kind of gaining from that feedback and not taking it to their heart. And another piece of it is, as you're dealing with feedback, you also need to get better in how to define your design decisions. And that's a learned skill. And if you don't take feedback well, you would never learn how to defend your design. So I think that they kind of play in together.
Evaluating an intern's soft skills without meeting them, I think is kind of tricky. I don't have any key terms that I look for, but I do look for like any flags within a resume or a cover letter or a portfolio that shows some sort of shared values, and that can be like flagging through language or identity or like cultural background. Those things really stand out for me. They show that maybe we'll be on the same playing field in terms of like how we communicate. In interviews, I want to be having fun. I know that's a lot of pressure, but I'm trying to create that environment too. Like, are we chatting? Like, we're going to be sitting on, if you're hired, we're on calls all day, every day. Am I having fun? Are you having fun? Is this a slog? If it's a slog in that 30-minute first interview, that's a no for me. And like that vibe check, I feel like can happen on both sides, like really quickly. And I think that when you're interviewing, you should be doing that too. I know that you're trying to put your best foot forward, and so is that person who's interviewing you. But when I'm looking for people, I want to make sure that there's like even like a little bit of like a clicking that's happening. And again, like using that language, like I'm queer, I'm trans. Do you know how to use my pronouns? If you don't, I'm sorry, like no. And I feel like stuff like that, even though it's like so base level, is really important for me in relation to soft skills. Also feedback, really, really huge. Feedback, how you communicate. Can you take feedback sometimes in portfolio reviews? I saw this being done when I was interviewing, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll try that. So I was like in an interview and the person killed it. They did such a good job, unbelievable speaking, beautiful portfolio. Their work was like exactly what we were doing and what we wanted to be hired for. And they had a spelling mistake on their like second page of the presentation in the footer, and I was like, hey, like you did an amazing job. Like you blew this out of the water, but on that second page, you had like one spelling mistake, and I just want to tell you because it'd be awkward if like you didn't want this job, and then I messaged you on LinkedIn, like let me just say it now. And she was like, I didn't have the spelling mistake, and I was like, okay, well, you did, and now it's awkward. And so she was like, well, show me, and I was like, okay, here's the spelling mistake. And I'm uncomfortable, she's uncomfortable, the other person on the call, we're all uncomfortable. And then she was like, well, this is very uncomfortable. I'm like, yes, it is. Now we're in a place. And I wish that she just said, wow, thanks. And like, that would be it. And I want someone to be able to give me that feedback in the same way. So I feel like there are some flags in interviews that people do try to like see how you work in terms of communication and feedback. And that's something that I now look for in interviews.
Did they get the job?
No. They said no. They said no to the job. I feel like it got
But
yeah.
would you have given it to
The call
them?
was like, hey, like maybe we ease up. And I was like, are we easing up? I don't know what we're doing here anymore. So I feel like, yeah, she said no. She should have said yes, she killed it. She really did.
Show me is crazy. Like,
I was like, maybe, I don't know, I was calculating. Maybe it's on page 4, maybe it's on page 6. Like, I don't know. Yeah, show me. I was like, okay. I will.
Personality, workability, I think soft skills, empathy is a huge one for designers too.
I feel like if someone puts empathy just like on the resume, I'm like, did you just say that? Like, what does that mean? And I feel like if someone asked me that in an interview, like, show me ways that you're empathetic, I'd be like, sorry.
I'm an empath on a resume. Great. Thank you again for your answers, guys. Just keeping an eye on time. We're hoping to end in maybe 10 minutes. Something like that. So maybe that's enough time for 2 quick questions, or maybe 1 long one.
There's a yes/no question. You can just go on yes or no as well. I think this is not part like correct. I think it says 89 questions or 89 comments on the top.
I think that's 89 questions.
Wow, guys.
Does anyone want to like say theirs to make sure that theirs is heard?
Public speaking skills?
Public speaking skills. Do you want to mic?
That's it, like any tips for public speaking.
How to improve the public speaking
Your
skills?
case study and stuff like that. It's the number 12.
Now, how do you elevate your public speaking skills for interviews and speak on the spot and talk more deeply about your case studies?
Okay, so for this one, has anyone heard of Toastmasters? Toastmasters is actually something that you guys should be all signing up for. I wish I knew actually that I was at school, and this is precisely why I'm actually in these events, just to let people know about it. So the Toastmasters is exactly going to help you with this skill, because what they're going to do is, they're going to give you they're going to tell you that, okay, I want you to talk about your dog for 2 minutes, start now. And you're like, what the heck, I can talk about my dog for 2 minutes, and you cannot stop the conversation, and then if there's a certain time, etc. And the roles are different for each time you meet up as well, depending on, your group and what level you are at, and they're going to teach you much more advanced skills, etc. So ultimately, you're going to, prove that. The other thing that I would highly recommend is volunteer for events like this. Like, I don't think that it's easy for these guys to be on stage, holding on the microphone, hearing their own voice, like, ooh, do I sound like this? And then, you ultimately get quite comfortable with it. The first time I was attending some of these events, it doesn't matter like how many times I work in a company or whatever I've done. Like, I was like, no, this is very awkward. What's going on? And I'm like, I know this shit, but like, why am I feeling so awkward about it, right? And it's normal. So just accept that it's normal. But again, it requires practice, just talk more and more and more, and then ultimately you kind of get a hold of it. And then there are advanced skills of, removing your arms and pauses and all that kind of thing. The part that I wanted to specifically focus on is deeply about your case study piece is the presentation part. So for presentation, I highly recommend you guys to create a storyline. If you create a storyline, and if you don't know how to create one, just go with a STAR method. Situation, task, action, results. That's going to always keep you aligned on how you're telling your story. So in this case, if you ask me, tell me about the moment that where public speaking did not go well for you. Okay, situation. I was attending a hackathon and I was one of the speakers for that one, and I had to do a public speaking task, right? That was the public speaking part. The action, I stand up and then I was talking on the stage and like, right? I was talking about it like that. And then the result is, at the end of it, I was able to figure out how to actually do a proper speech. So when you have like STAR method, you can almost implement it to everything that you have done in your case study. Anything. Like if you can take a volunteer job and turn it into a UX case study, literally. If you can just use the jargon that we have from the UX, right? Customer research and all that kind of thing, buzzwords or whatever you want to call it. So that's what I would recommend on that one. Yeah, just keep practicing. And Toastmaster.
Okay, we're gonna ask you guys to say them now because we've been asking a lot of questions. Over there.
Hi. I was curious if it's better currently with the job market right now to gather more experience with clients or freelancing, or to be furthering your education, whether it's getting a BA in design or a master's in visual communication, things like that. Where should priorities kind of be with either or direction?
Did everybody hear the question? Yeah?
You should always repeat, but yes.
I don't know about everyone else. I don't know about the broader job market. I think for me, getting your foot in the door is the hardest thing. So for me, it doesn't matter if you have a master's, if you have a PhD, if you've never had a job before or an internship. Love that you've gotten that education. That's really great. And it doesn't really apply. I feel like internships or volunteer positions, anything that you've done in an actual work environment means a lot more to me in terms of can you collaborate? Can you strategize? Can you work with other designers? Can you speak the language of devs and content designers and researchers? So for me, it is definitely more about job positioning than furthering your education in the current job market, but that's just, me personally.
Yeah, I would say totally agree with what Charlie said. I think the main thing is also wherever you are in a job position or you're working, you're constantly upskilling. You have to constantly learn. We are constantly doing different certifications as well, like Nielsen and Norman Group is a great example. If you want to kind of learn how to facilitate a design workshop, or if you want to learn about maybe UX manager position, how to kind of transition into that. So there's always different courses and conferences as well. Like Figma conference is another example. It's a great resource where you learn what people are doing in different industries. Their keynotes are amazing. So there's always learning happening, but definitely you need to back it with some sort of work that has been translated from those learnings.
Great. I think we have time for just one last question. Right there. Yeah, the black jacket.
Oh, okay. This is a general question, but I want to know what you guys, how to become more confident in your design skills and what you could do in general.
How to become more confident in your design skills.
Practice more and practice more. Well, you have to, as they mentioned before as well, I think you need to have some, I really don't like the word influencer because it's being totally butchered right now with Instagram and all that kind of stuff, but you gotta find, mentor, let's call it mentor, okay? You need to find a mentor. Like, for instance, how many people know Crystal?
Oh, Crystal, yeah.
Yeah, Crystal. Thank you.
From the
Crystal.
future?
Yeah. So like Crystal is a good mentor to follow. So you can actually figure it out, what kind of typography that he's using, right? And what kind of art that he's creating. Who's he working with? What is his close network look like? And who can you learn from those individuals as well, right? The problem that I see in the current era is we have way too much access to information, but yet you guys don't apply that information once you learn it. You guys are just keep sucking it, right? And you think that you're productive, you're not. You're just learning the information. If you don't apply it, you won't learn. So you have to practice it. So if you want to become a great designer, practice it. How many people know Kobe Bryant kind of bio or read a little bit about it? Hey, Jeremy, how are you? So, in Kobe's, I think there was an interview, and one of the things that the interviewer wanted to actually have the shot of him practicing, okay? So he goes in at, I think, 4:30 a.m., I kid you not. And he was like saying that, I don't want to wake up for whatever it is, but he has to run the interview, right? He goes at 4:30, and Kobe is already, sweating. And he's like, you told me to come at 4:30, and he said like, yeah, I just wanted to practice a couple more hours before you arrive. Like, that's the mentality. That's what puts him into one of the best, basketball players, right? You just push your limits. The other day, I was walking with my father on a very snowy day, which we have no idea about the freaking field, like you can even walk actually properly. There was a soccer person playing with the soccer ball, literally in a frozen snow field, and there's that area where he's playing the soccer ball and then making the moves. There was another tennis player, the entire place is covered with snow, but hitting onto the wall. What makes you think that these guys will be successful? But what do we say? We look at them outside and we tell them that he was just lucky. Oh, he must know someone, right? That's the thing. As long as you can pass beyond that mentality, and then you can say that like, this is great. You know what? Next time maybe I should not find an excuse and I should actually do the same thing. So copy people who are successful, the way that they're doing it. Even if you suck at copying, you're still going to land close to that bullseye that you're looking for, right? So that's what I would leave it with.
I would say, and similarly actually to public speaking, I would ask people that you respect as designers or mentors or even peers to do mock interviews with people that you are, like you can reach out on ADP list, or you could reach out to someone that and ask them to do like a really hard final interview, and you can like set the parameters of what that is. Like, you're offering me a job that's $500K where I'm like interning in the best blah 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 in the world, and make this like the hardest interview you've ever done. And I think those are really scary, even if with people that you know, but they're very helpful. And I think similarly to raising your design, obviously I don't know every person here, but I know some people in here, and I know that they're incredibly skilled designers. And so making sure that they're giving you crits on your work, how to improve, peers, mentors, judges, whatever. Those people, if you think their work is amazing, be like, give me a really hard crit. Like, don't go soft on this. How would you have done it? How would you have done it differently? I think that there's a lot of value in that from everyone around you right now.
Alright, do you have anything else you want to say?
I think related to Chris, the only thing is just learning how to defend your designs as well. That comes with really hard critiques, and It's a learned behavior and it will take time, but it's a good practice where you kind of learn what are your boundaries, what are things that other people shouldn't cross in a way, and that kind of helps you whenever you are in a workplace, you need to pick your battles. Like you can't get everything delivered. It might be the business kind of pushing you in a certain direction. It might be the product team pushing you in another direction. But you need to find your own path, and that kind of helps the more practice you do, as both Matt and mentioned.
All right, that wraps up our fireside chat. So connect with them on LinkedIn. They're also open to that. Otherwise, you won't see them until they start seeing your projects. I think. So, all right. So yeah, we are a bit ahead of schedule, but now we will head on to some information about clients.
No? Okay. So we're going to just take 2 minutes to settle down again. You can just stretch, don't go out. We're going to talk about clients after. So just 2 minutes, stretch, relax, and then we can start. Get started with our client's introduction. So exciting things. So first up, we have Power Consulting. Power Consulting provides professional bookkeeping services for small and medium-sized businesses in Canada. The company name PowerPro is derived from their phrase partners in processing and sometimes refers to parallel processing. Their mission is to integrate seamlessly with their client teams while helping business owners make informed decision making. OME specializes in crafting premium locally freeze-dried snacks that are as healthy as they are delicious. What sets them apart is their commitment to innovation, like their yogurt crunches made with just 3 ingredients, and their dedication to creating snacks that are versatile, non-GMO, gluten-free, and free from added sugars. Their mission is to create snacks that people feel good about eating and sharing, whether they're at home, on the go, or in the middle of an outdoor adventure. Indie Arts Collective. They're a social enterprise that offer unique and quality cultural handmade products and sacred edibles. They support and share the talent and work of South American artisans while spreading awareness of each product's history and significance. They co-design the products with their makers to offer unique products that meet the demands of the North American market. They thrive by supporting artisanal communities in Latin America to preserve their indigenous and traditional cultures. These traditions are passed on from generation to generation and rely on the artisanal industry to continue to succeed.
Alright, and then we have Banana Art Lab. Located in the heart of Richmond, they offer a unique space dedicated to the joy of making art accessible to everyone, young and old alike. Specializing in tufting, decadent, and a variety of arts and crafts, they provide hands-on workshops that inspire creativity and self-expression. Their mission has been to foster a community where creativity thrives. Their aim is to increase weekday participation and expand the reach so more people can discover the joy of art making at Banana Art Lab. And then next we have Rank 14 Hobbies. Interesting. They sell collector's items and trade card games. Pokemon cards are one of the main products that they sell. They are also professional on product appraisal and custom game deck building. Their mission is to connect specialty collector items as well as the game community with their interests of card games and products. And then we have Furry Tales Pet. Furry Tales Pet Company specializes in dehydrated pet treats for both cats and dogs. So they also incorporate artistic elements such as pet portraits on cookies, cakes, and other treats. And their mission is to make pet food more fun, cute, healthy, and delicious, turning everyday treats into playful experiences for pets and their owners. And then we also have a picture of the CEO, Soya, who is the owner's dog. Next we have Jumbo Grill. Jumbo Grill is a fusion restaurant bringing together Persian, Indian, and African food and culture. They showcase an extensive menu which caters to all kinds of diets, from vegetarians to meat lovers. And they are celebrating 20 years of serving the community and are excited to provide their culinary delights across Vancouver. And their mission is to continue to create authentic culinary experiences for the community and create a space for people to enjoy bold flavors and multicultural eats. And then we have the BOG Riverside Cranberry Farm. They are a multi-generational family-operated business that is focused on their homegrown BC cranberries and cranberry products. They are one of the few cranberry farms owned by locals, bringing high-quality farm-to-table products for BC consumers. And their mission is to be the most farm-direct choice for BC consumers while promoting sustainable farming practices and high-quality cranberry products, and sharing the importance of building tangible connections between their products on the grocery shelves and personal experiences at the farm.
Alright, the last we have is Rufus Guitar Shop. They were established in 1972 and they are a staple in Vancouver's music community with locations on Alma Street and Commercial Drive. They offer a wide range of new, used and vintage guitars, folk instruments, repairs and lessons, as they offer sales of instruments, but they also offer classes to learn as well. Their mission is to create exceptional customer experience and products and cater to musicians at all levels for their expertise. And the last one we have is Conscious Connections. It is a dating platform designed for intentional, value-driven relationships. Their mission is to cultivate a premium experience that prioritizes compatibility, depth, and emotional intelligence. A lot of reaction for this one. So obvious. So the briefs for all of these would be sent out to you in your specific Discord channels. Each team will be assigned one random one. The team will be giving it the briefs at the end of the closing ceremony, so please be patient. They will try very hard to get across.
Hi, sorry, just to make sure, the client channel that will be assigned to you will go out at 3:30, so after the opening ceremony, and you'll see it under the workshop channels. So, double chat there. And if it doesn't show up, DM me on Discord. Yeah.
Sounds good, thank you. All right, and before we wrap up, we're just gonna go over some key next steps to keep in mind as you start designing. So first is to meet with your team. So connect with your group tonight or before your client meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. to align on expectations and initial ideas, and use a survival guide to help you get started. And then you also have to review the client brief and resources. So make sure to go through all the materials provided to fully understand the challenge. And then attend the workshops. These sessions are designed to help you build skills and refine your project, so take advantage of them, and they will help you with the criteria judging as well. And then once you actually start designing and you have clarity on the challenge, just jump right into the design process, and then make sure you stay organized, communicate with the team, and don't hesitate to reach out for any of the support at any step if you need.
And like we had mentioned before, we do have the survival guide FigJam. This is basically to get organized because planning becomes key in hackathons. It has guides for how to break down roles, tasks. It has icebreaker activities for people you're getting to know for the first time, brainstorming activities, and tons of design resources. So please make sure to look at that as well. We also have bingo cards that we gave in your merch pack, so make sure you connect and fill those out. For those who finish the bingo cards, write your name in the back and give it to a FLUI team member, because after the closing ceremony, we have a networking mixer where you get to network with judges, mentors, and other team members. And so at that point, we will be doing a random pick to give some goodies to. So please make sure to use those bingo cards as a good resource for conversation starters. And a very, very nice bonus for you guys is that we have a 12% off at the Mirror Cafe for all participants. You have to show you, yes. Remember guys, bingo cards and discount. This discount starts tomorrow, so it is a good study session spot just for the hackathon, and you guys can make it a good excuse to go there. So go there, you can show your tickets and lanyards, and make sure you use that discount until the end of March. And thank you guys, that wraps up our opening ceremony. our team will start sharing the client briefs like I mentioned, so please be patient. And we are working really hard to get it to you. RSVP for Raymond's Figma prototyping workshop. You don't want to miss out, 6 p.m. today, guys. And if you have any questions, drop them in Discord or ask a FLUI team member. And I hope you have an amazing experience at FLUI Design Hackathon. All the best, guys.